This is wild, as Joe Mazzulla is sent a message, a warning, not to block other players' shots, as we recently saw with him getting involved with Royce O'Neal last weekend. Adam Silver has now made it clear he does not want Joe Mazzulla doing that. Plus, Joe speaks out on Neemias Queta. We have an update revolving around him, if he could possibly be the 15th man, and the Celtics are looking to clinch the Atlantic Division with a win tonight. All of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. Before we dive in on all this Boston Celtics news, though, 72% of our viewers are not subscribed. Would appreciate it if you hit that big old red subscribe button down below. This is the place for Celtics news. We're going to be doing a live watch-along stream tonight with the Celtics and the Bucks. So if that interests you guys, make sure to join us here on Celtics Digest. Without further ado, let's get into all of these topics. Before we dive into any of the Joe Mazzulla stuff, though, like I mentioned in the introduction, the Celtics can clinch the Atlantic Division title with a win tonight versus Milwaukee. We saw in last game they needed a win and a Knicks loss. Unfortunately, the Knicks did beat the Warriors, but even though the Celtics did come out victorious versus the Pistons, but now it is just dependent on us. A win, and we're in. And with no Giannis Antetokounmpo tonight for the Milwaukee Bucks, the Celtics might have an easier case of winning. But let's dive into this news at hand today. First, we're going to be going over a Neemias Queta update. If you guys know, Neemias Queta has been pretty solid played for the Celtics this year in his spurts of things, but ever since the Celtics have acquired Xavier Tillman and had some more front court depth, and with the emergence of Luke Kornet playing that position, Neemias Queta's kind of taken a step back. And as you guys know, on Celtics Digest, we're big fans of Neemias Queta. I'm personally Portuguese, so I'm going to be a huge supporter of Neemias Queta, but he really has stood out for the Celtics, being an offensive rebounder and a guy who can, fight on that glass. But here's what Joe Mazzulla had to say, about Neemias Queta. Another quote here from Noah Dalzo, where she asked him on Neemias Queta. He said, "There was a whole stretch during the season where he was playing significant minutes and he won games for us. He brings it every day and has the level of patience and understands that his time is going to come." So what that says to me is that the Celtics are still going to value Neemias Queta as this 15th roster spot and still keep him up in the air. Even though Neemias Queta, if we want to look in March, has only played 2 minutes, and that was versus the Portland Trailblazers in a blowout game where he scored 1 point, got 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 1 block. He hasn't really gotten that much love, and like I mentioned, it's because of the emergence of Xavier Tillman and Luke Kornet. Both of these guys have kind of stood out for the Celtics, and like Joe said, Neemias has won some games for the Boston Celtics. Neemias was able to thrive when Luke Kornet and Kristaps Porzingis were hurt during that Western Conference road trip, posting up 2 back-to-back double-doubles, and that was a key wins for the Celtics. He looked like he could blossom there, and then we haven't really seen him since. Like I mentioned, Luke Kornet has been fantastic at being a rim protector, stepping up into that stay-ready role, and already has the team behind him, and Xavier Tillman kind of fitting in, brings a little bit of different versatility, being able to stop some slower, bigger guys, while Luke Kornet can stop the taller, lankier guys. In my personal opinion, I think that Neemias Queta is going to get that 15th roster spot. The Celtics have been patient. Brad Stevens has wanted to remain patient with this last roster spot, keeping some eyes out open. Blake Griffin doesn't seem like he wants to make a return, even though the Celtics are pushing for him. Isaiah Thomas, who I personally thought would be nice to bring for a ring and being a great veteran role, kind of like Udonis Haslem role, has signed with the Phoenix Suns, and he'll get some time tonight in that game, so we're going to dive in and look at that as well. But hopefully, Neemias Queta can be that 15th roster spot guy to have some insurance for the Celtics in the playoffs in that front court. If they do, they have a front court of Xavier Tillman, Luke Kornet, Neemias Queta, Jordan Walsh, Kristaps Porzingis, and Al Horford. And yes, Queta, Walsh, possibly even Tillman and Kornet aren't going to get that many minutes in the playoffs, and I do understand that. But having that depth for guys like Porzingis, who's, been dealing with some injuries and maintaining and keeping that injury, not lingering. And Al Horford, who can't play on back-to-backs, even though when we get deeper in the playoffs, we're not going to see back-to-backs. It is fantastic to have that depth just in case in a position where I think we are the weakest in our lineup. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section on Neemias Queta. Like I mentioned, I'm a huge fan of him. I really like the style that he brings. He brings some offensive energy that we've seen, and we've even seen that with some stay-ready guys in Oshae, Brissett, and with Jaylen Springer in recent games. And I truly think that Neemias Queta, if developing in the G League for this season, then next year he'll be an important piece of this roster. But let's dive into the other news at hand today, which is Joe Mazzulla getting a warning. And that's right, Adam Silver is absolutely fuming at Joe Mazzulla, because Joe Mazzulla is doing something that he does not want in his league. We want to look at this tweet here from the Celtics on NBC Sports Boston. We can see that Joe Mazzulla was talking to Zoe and Bertrand, who are on the 98.5 radio show, and was told that he's been told to stop trying to block opponents' shots during timeouts. Now, if you guys know Joe, after this game, he came out and said that he wants to keep that part of the game instilled. He says that other opponents aren't going to be able to shoot on his team when they're, calling timeouts or doing anything like that. Regardless if it's a player or a staff, that's the mentality that he wants checked in. If we want to look, you guys can see it's a little bit blurry, but this was the shot contest that Joe Mazzulla did provide on Royce O'Neal as the Phoenix Suns did call a timeout. Derrick White obviously went up to go block it, and Celtics players like Brown, like Tatum, like Derrick White said it was just Joe. That's just his personality. That's just who he is. That's how he's going to act. And I love to see that. I love to see that out of my head coach. A coach that wants to, get some fire underneath them, gets the team riled up is what you want to see, especially a team who is a dominant squad, one of the best teams in the NBA, ranking best in net rating, best in offense, best in defense. Having a coach believing in you and wanting you to give it your all, 1,000%, even himself giving it 100%, even if he's not playing, attempting to do that stuff is cool. He did talk about a little bit about Charles' comments as well, saying he did not hear Charles' comments, did not see them, and that's personally great because, as we all know, Charles Barkley was absolutely furious that Joe Mazzulla was doing this, and kind of funny that he was furious because, in my opinion, it's not that really of a big deal. Joe Mazzulla is just having a little bit fun, showing some, passion that he shares with this Celtics squad, and I really like that, he was able to do that. A lot of people on Celtics Twitter were very devastated that he is not going to be able to do this, and they're kind of devastated for their coach. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys think that there was a rightful warning just because Adam Silver fears that it's not going to do great for this league? And like we said, the last thing that we have to mention is the comment of the day. If you guys are new here, if you guys have not seen this part of the section, every single video will be picking out a comment, our favorite comment. So if you guys do enjoy and want to be featured as a comment of the day, let us know your thoughts down below. But here for the comment of the day, we have a comment from Holy is the Lamb 26 talking about Jayson Tatum, saying Jayson Tatum is a dog. For those who say he isn't clutch, haven't seen him in elimination games. And I totally agree with our boy Holy is the Lamb. The whole narrative of Jayson Tatum is that he's not this superstar. He's not this guy. He gets carried by his other players like Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, Derrick White. But the fact is that Jayson Tatum has put up these fantastic stats alongside these guys and has only improved his numbers this year. The other narrative is that, Jaylen Brown's terrible, Derrick White's not an all-star, yada, yada, yada. But then how can Jayson Tatum not compete for this MVP role? It really makes no sense. And the people that want to call out Jayson Tatum saying he's not clutch, let's not forget that this man dropped 50 points in a Game 7 matchup. And he also helped the Celtics win the year previous in Game 6 in Milwaukee, dropping a whopping 40+. He is that man. He has that clutch gene. We have seen it unlocked. And in the playoffs, this duo of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown are going to lock up opponents and be clutch for the Celtics to win a championship. I am sure of it. But like I said, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. All your guys' thoughts and opinions. Like I mentioned, we will be having a watch along live stream for tonight's game versus the Milwaukee Bucks. So if that's something that interests you, make sure to join, make sure to tune in. We'll be having a lot of fun there. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.